Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm going to be reacting to how does one live without motives? Krishnamurti. So it's been a while since I reacted to his stuff. I will be selecting some of his shorter videos just because of a certain thing, but how does one live without motives? That is very difficult. Does surviving count as a motive? So to eat is a motive to survive. That would be very difficult. Now, I can understand you can live with, you can do a lot of things without motive for the most part, but there's going to be certain things that you're going to be doing because of motives. Instinctual things for the most part. Do you even count those as motives? I think I do, but I can hear the argument for or against it. I don't know. Let's go ahead and get started and see what he says. Link to the video in the description below. Please check out his channel. Really good stuff. Welcome to the tents without a motive. The desire to come here to listen to you. How does one live? Yeah, exactly. Just even instinctual things like to eat, I think.
How can one come to this tent without a motive? A desire to come here. To listen to you, I must have a motive to come here. How does one live without motives? Why do you want to be without motives?
Oh man, I feel a little sad. He's shaking so much. Jeez, this is the worst condition I've seen him in yet so far. Why do we want to live without motives? It'd be nice not to have expectations, I suppose. When you have motives, you kind of have expectations. But it's not necessarily wrong to have certain kind of motives, I think.
Who told us that we must have motives? If you have heard the speaker say motives are very destructive, then you are merely repeating what he has said. But if we could together find out what is motive, what is the significance of motive, why we have motives, not say we mustn't have it.
Good.
But if we discover its meaning, then we can keep with it. We can have them or not have them.
So basically, I'm guessing along the lines of good motives versus bad motives.
But if you say that the speaker has said one mustn't have motives, and therefore how am I to live without motives? That's a wrong question altogether. So let's find out together what is a motive. Why we have motives?
We need.
Why? We're not saying we must not have them. We are saying why do we have them?
We have needs and wants.
The meaning of that word motive means motion. To move. That is to make us move. One comes to this tent with a motive, obviously. That is, the motive is to listen to somebody. And so you come. But you have never questioned what is your motive, why you have that motive, why you have that desire. And if you are not clear about desire and motive, then you have to inquire, what is my intention coming here?
Boy, that one word motive brought up desire and intention. Exactly. What is your intent? What is your motive? They seem to be interchangeable, but we'll see. Desire, on the other hand, well, we'll see.
right? To either to be helped, we all want to be helped. It's all our pain, anxiety, misery, all the terrible things we live with. And unless we go into it rather deeply, together, not together, then you have all the time motives. A motive is a direction. Right? I have a motive to come here. My motive is to, for various reasons. Which is what? I've already set the brain has set a direction, right? To understand this man, or to say, oh, he's a stupid man, he doesn't know what he's talking about. To criticize, to accept, to obey, to contradict, all that is occupying your mind, the brain. Therefore, you're not listening. Right? Listening is an art, as we talked about it the other day. To listen to somebody with all your being. Not to interpret what he says.
Not to interpret. A lot of people, I can't, you know, I do that. I interpret what people say. But I do listen too. It's very strange. It makes me think about all the conversation, and I'm sure a lot of people realize that people interpret what you say and imply what they think you mean by it, and even though that's not what you meant, so they're kind of like adding extra things to the words that you've said. That's what I thought of whenever I said interpret what they say, and I do that too. But I make sure whenever I do interpret what they say, I ask. It's like, is this what you mean? Just because I want to clarify their position on whatever they're speaking of. It's not all the time, but whenever there's a discussion, you want to be able to interpret what they say appropriately, not to interpret it in a way that you understand it or how you accept it, but more along the lines, interpret the way it's meant to be interpreted. And when there's question in what they're saying, you question what they're saying. Just felt like I went in a complete circle there. So basically, whenever they make a statement, you want to clarify that they're not being so ambiguous. Like, it could mean anything. So you say, okay, you said this. Did you mean this, this, and this? Or did you just mean this? And they can say, oh, I meant this and this one, but not this one. When you're talking to people, and if it's a matter of debate or clarification, you want to understand them appropriately, correctly.
But if you listen, that's the greatest miracle. Whereas if you have a motive, you can't listen. Right? Simple as that.
Wow. Oh, man. This makes me think about a whole bunch of stuff that's happening. Oh, my gosh. You know, this goes back with what's going on in, for the most some parts of America, where the left and the right, the far left and the far right, where they all have a motive, and whenever you speak something, they go, aha, I knew it. Because their motive is to pay attention to key words and to find those key words and go, gotcha. Not to listen to you, to say, I gotcha. Don't get me wrong, I do that sometimes too, and I try to catch myself. But also listen, I listen, and I try to interpret the best way I can what they say by asking questions to make sure I interpreted it correctly. Try not to get too much. And I do the gotcha things too, but that is to point out a fact. Not point out a fact, but to draw attention to something, not to say I gotcha now you're defeated. No, it's more I gotcha. Do you get what I'm talking about now? That kind of thing for the most part. Wow. Yeah.
And if one has a desire, which is part of the motive, why are we slave to desire? You see, we don't inquire. We accept, I have a desire to come here. We don't say, why have I desire? What is desire? You understand? Drive, push, inquire, doubt. What is desire? We went and talked about it the other day. We'll go into it briefly.
Is it a wanting?
Desire is born out of sensation.
That's what wanting, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to come to this tent, because I'll meet my friends. I haven't seen them for a year. It's a good opportunity for me to meet them. And I will also listen to the K. I will also mountain scenery. I'll have a good time.
That's the way I justify my actions for the most part. I don't do things for one thing only. It's generally like if I have to go out of the way for something, I want it for multiple reasons. So it's not just like I go out there for one thing and that's it.
And the talks will be thrown in. That's part of our desire. Desire is it not? No, I won't tell you. What is desire?
It's wanting something. Wanting something. That's the best way I can define it. It's a want. It's not a need, it's a want. Kind of like, and this is something I do again, like I said just a little bit earlier, that whenever, if I need to go out for one thing, I won't go out for just that one thing unless it's a need more than a want. If it's a want, then I have to justify it with two things. That's weird about me. But so it kind of controls my desire in some sense. But to answer his question, I believe a desire is a wanting of something, not a need of something.
Not that we are saying we shouldn't have desire, or suppress desire, or encourage desire. Desire to fulfill, desire to become something, outwardly and inwardly. So, desire, what is desire? To go into that, one must ask, what is sensation? Right?
Never thought about it that way, the sensation.
How does sensation arise?
Through our senses?
Through seeing something, a beautiful chalet, nice bathrooms and all the rest of it, and a lovely view. The view, the chalet, seeing it brings a sensation. Right? That's natural. And also then, thought says, I wish I owned that chalet. Right? Which is what?
A desire.
Thought giving shape to sensation. Thought giving an image of yourself in that house. Clear? Right? At that moment when thought brings the image of you in that house, at that second desire is born. Right? Clear? Are we? Right? So desire is given shape, no, sensation, thought gives sensation to desire. Thought creating the image. You in the car, you owning that picture, or seeing a beautiful man, woman, and so on. Then thought creates the image out of that sensation. At that second, desire is born. This is quite simple if you see this. It doesn't require tremendous brains.
So is this saying that when you see it and your thought creates the thought, that's the first desire, you inside the house, and then I gotta rewind. I'm sorry, I gotta rewind that because every time he said the second sensation, I was confused.
You in the car, you owning that picture, or seeing a beautiful man, woman, and so on. Then thought creates the image out of that sensation. At that second, desire is born.
So it's saying the thought itself is a desire because of the sensation? The sensation of the beauty of the house creates the thought, which is the desire. Then putting yourself in that house, or whatever it is that you're experiencing, is the second desire? I don't know if I understood that correctly. If I understood that correctly, I'm still a bit confused as to why that's a secondary desire. Saying something is nice, is that the first desire? Saying, oh, that house looks nice, and the thought of putting you in that house is the second desire. Is that what he's saying?
This is quite simple if you see this. It doesn't require tremendous brains. And then the question is, can sensation and thought, with its image of sense, kept apart for a while? You understand? Not immediately take shape. You've understood?
A little lost.
There's a chalet the other day one saw a Gstad. Very nice, beautiful, old, modernized inside, and everything as it should be. You looked at it. You live in a flat in one of the big cities and you say, my God, I wish I had that chalet. I'm not wishing personally, but one wishes. And desire then works to achieve that chalet, buy that chalet, or becomes envious. You know, all the process goes on. Right? Now, the seeing that chalet is a sensation. Right? Seeing the good taps, the bathtub, the showers, dining room, you know, the whole modern kitchen, and you don't have to wash dishes. You put it, you know, all that goes on. Then thought comes and says, I wish I could live there.
And see, that's the thing, though. Seeing and appreciating something is not a wanting. Again, my definition of what desire is wanting. So you can appreciate something but not want it. So the thought of I wish I lived there, that's a wanting, and that I would say is a desire.
Or rent it out. I can get a lot more money, especially in the winter. All that is instantaneous, you understand? It's not, there's no interval between sensation and thought giving shape to that sensation, right? Now, is it possible to keep them apart for a while? You understand? That requires great attention to see sensation and thought immediately giving a shape to it.
Okay.
And to watch thought, the quickness of thought, and to slow down that thought. You understand? So that the slowing down and the sensation, if one watches it carefully, desire has its place, right? Well, I've gone into it. Now, we have motives. Motives to get rich, motive to be happy, motive to fulfill, desire to have one's roots, to identify oneself with something. This is the everyday business of one's life. And the motive is always changing. Therefore, motive gives shape to our life, right? Desire.
Desire, yeah.
Desire, motive, and so on. So the past, see it, so the past is giving shape to our life, right? The motive is the past.
That is so weird for him to say that. Just, it's so weird to even think about it like that. It's something Sadhguru has said. I don't think Swami Sarvapriyananda has said that yet. At least I can't remember if he has. But to say that the past, it's always about the past. That it's the past that always hurts us, gives us desire. Everything bad has come from the past. That's not to say that it's only bad that comes from the past, but just everything comes from the past. The good, the bad, the ugly, you know, the movie. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, the bad. It comes from the past, because it is. I've never thought about looking at, say, you go and you look at cell phones, and you're like, oh, I want to buy that cell phone. And then that desire is something in the past. It's always current because it's always in your mind, but yet the memory, the thought of it is something that occurred in the past, but affecting you now and today. Even though I'm sure this is something that we all know, but it's just, it's I don't know how to describe it. It's you don't ever think about it being the past. It's because it's now, but it's the past. You know what I'm talking about? That you looking at cell phones and then you going home, you're like thinking like, oh man, I want that cell phone. But it's not now, it's the past. But it's affecting you now, and the thoughts are now, but the thoughts are about the past.
You understand? So the past, which is the motive, which is giving a direction, is giving the mold of our life. Right? Therefore, we are the past.
Well, yeah, technically.
Yeah, of course.
We are
the past is memory.
Yeah, we are accumulation of memories. Wow. I mean, I get that we're accumulation of things that we experience in life, but to say that we are accumulation of our past it's just different for some odd reason for me. I knew that we are an accumulation of our history, our past, but I never thought about it as the past is who we are now. It's like this kind of goes back to the cell phone thing, where that memory of the past is kind of changing, molding us the way we are today. Oh my gosh. Again, I knew that we are accumulation of our past, but just to say that we are the past right now, it's not the way I thought about it. I know we. I keep repeating myself. I'm repeat.
Right? Which is tradition, all the rest of it. So we are the past. We are memory. Whole series of memories, bundle of memories. And that is the self, the ego. Conscious, and the other thing is unconscious. There is no unconscious, there is only total consciousness, not breaking it up. That's the unconscious and conscious. I won't go into that.
Okay.
So, to break this cycle is to understand time. You understand? Which we went into. But as we have motives, which has almost become normal in our life, how can one live without a motive? And we have accepted motives. We never question our motives, or invent new motives, or justify one's own motives. You understand? But we never go into this whole question of desire, motive, and fulfillment. Right? So, that brings us to the point, can one listen so completely to another, not interpret what the other fellow is saying, or the woman, but to listen so completely, not only hearing with the ear, but also hearing with the inner ear, as it were, so that you are giving total attention. Where there is attention, you don't have to have motive. Right?
Oh, jeez. Okay. I wonder. That's weird. I would say this. If you question what I say, I would say you're giving attention. You may be interpreting what I say, but it shows that you're paying attention and you're asking, hopefully, the right questions. Like, if we're talking about water, and it's like, okay, when you say water, do you mean tap water? Do you mean lake water? Do you mean just straight up water with no minerals in it, like H2O, literally just H2O, which is distilled water? I'd be like, oh, you're paying attention. Good on you. So to question isn't necessarily saying that you're, or to interpret or to question, it's not to say that you're not paying attention, but I get what he's saying. And if you can't, and then generally speaking, whenever you know someone for a long time and you know how to interpret them appropriately, properly, then you can pay full attention to them and know what they mean. Generally, when you meet someone new, sometimes you don't know what they mean because you don't know their history, you don't know how they talk. How does one live without motives? That's I'm glad he said that you don't live without motives. There's always going to be motives. You just got to make sure. I don't know. He never really. It's kind of like saying that you have to find out what the intent of your motives is. Make sure your motives are good. Not to misinterpret, but to listen to people as well. So don't go to aha gotcha moment. But yes, I mean, I'm weird like that, I guess. I gotcha moment, but it's not to say like you failed or you're wrong. It's more like, do you understand what I'm saying now? I gotcha. You get what I'm saying, kind of deal. Because it's kind of like I guess it's along the lines of what Osho does. He's very harsh with his words, which I do appreciate, because there's a lot of these other swamis and gurus are so kind in their words, and that's what we need. But sometimes we need an Osho out there. We need someone a bit harsh, a bit rough, to, how do I say, to kind of slap people in the face. In term, not physically, obviously, but in terms of ideology, in terms of ideas, in terms of their thinking. Because we have to realize that we want things in a kind and nice fashion, but we also have to understand the harsh realities of what aren't nice and aren't comforting out there. We have to be prepared for the bad, for the worst, for the harshness of real life, and hope and work towards the kinder ways of life. Man, I went way off topic with that one. Anyways, that's my reaction to how does one live without motives. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.